Hey guys, my name is Poni. Today we're going to be going over my track Powerless. It's the title track off my debut EP out now on Sounds of Mayhem. I'm just going to preface this by saying I do a lot of freezing and flattening and versioning up. So a lot of the original MIDI, I can't really show what I did, unfortunately, but I will do my best to remember and try and explain. So just a little bit of organization. I got my reference tracks at the top. Always good to have more than one. Otherwise, you might make your songs sound too much like one of your references. I got my chords here at the top for easy referencing. Got Vox, drums are red, synths, mains. Sometimes I have another group that's just like other instruments, but honestly the organization is always changing. I have my effects at the bottom and then sidechain, very bottom. And just to quickly show you what's going on here, I have my sidechain for the kick, split between the mids and the highs. The mids are at 100% and the highs aren't. Then I also have a sidechain for the snare in the drop, also not at 100%, just to help it like poke through the mix a little bit. Yeah, so getting into it. In the intro here, we have a little bit of atmospheric vocals that kind of help introduce the vocals a little bit. Just lots of reverb. And then this is kind of just all the intro is. Got kind of like this pluck thing that reminds me of Res a little bit. Couldn't really tell you what that is. Some vinyl noise. This is probably just a Pigments preset. Funny thing about Pigments, I don't pay for it, I just use the demo, and after I think like 15 or 20 minutes it actually will stop working, like the sound will stop coming out. So normally I have to pick my preset and then just freeze and flatten it right away, otherwise you lose it. Got some like acoustic guitar chugs here. I think these are all the same note, but I kind of created a bit of a pattern by increasing the velocity on certain notes just to kind of give it like this rhythm. So it's like na, 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 na. I think that's pretty cool. And then I think I carry that over into this verse part here. Yeah, so these kind of more rock guitars here. Panned left and right. This interesting little pluck thing going on. Still doing that same kind of pattern. Kind of introducing more chords as we go. It's a cool loop. For effects, we just got some sweeps and downlifters and impacts. Drums are just pretty basic. All Sullivan King. Shout out Sullivan King. And then the vocal comes in. Powerless! I'm feeling powerless! Really didn't have to do much to that. They already sounded so good. Powerless! I'm feeling powerless, so cold, but then nothing my back. Give me all of that hate, lock me up in my cage, want me with the hate. I'm powerless. So yeah, pretty simple. Then we go into a break. A lot of the elements disappear, some of them keep going. Got some little bits of ear candy here. More guitars doing the same pattern. I've introduced another guitar here, doing a bit of a slower pattern. I make all of my guitars in Contact. I use Sunburst, and I just use it for the tone. So I strip out all of the effects, the doubling, literally everything, just to get like a tone. And then I end up using these Archetype amps. Gojira is my favorite. It's definitely my go-to. And then I start introducing some of the drop elements. I'll get more into that in a second. And then just risers, risers, and more risers. I also made a bit of a riser out of the vocal. Got some layers going on, just pitched down, distorted, panned left and right. Now the fun stuff. The drop. This is his scream carrying over into the drop. There's my sidechain trig for the kick, sidechain trig for the snare. I think it's just a whole lot of excellent sound. I can't talk. A whole lot of excellent sound samples. Shout out Excellent Sound. Your videos and samples have helped me immensely through my musical journey. Just kind of switching things up on the second half here with some different cymbals and crashes. I like to sidechain my cymbals against the snare, just to have the snare pop a little bit, so they just kind of dip a little bit while the snare hits. You just don't need so much noise. So first hit, we have a scream. This is actually the same scream from my Corolla Drive Away remix. It was inspired by Sin. He is a huge inspiration to me. Love his music. And then I just have that layered with some different variations. So it's just like the same sound, but it's obviously been messed with, so it's a bit different. I think with layering sounds, it's important to have kind of like that one main sound that's just like clean, sounds good, it's crisp, and then with the layering, you kind of just want to add things that complement that. So like variations of that same sound, or just like other sounds that like help it rather than drown it out, if you know what I mean. It can become very muddy and messy very quickly. So something I still struggle with. Just layered with a simple noise base. These are super, super easy to make. Oops. Doo-doo-doo. It's just a sine with some noise, and then you just run it through a whole lot of distortion. Oops, that's way too high. Easy peasy. It always sounds good. So we have a bit of call and response going on here. So the first two hits I would consider the call, and then the part after that, that's the response. Where's that second hit? Right there. So this was actually from a sound design session that I did, and I actually used different parts of that sound design session for main sounds in this song. So you kind of just like, I think it's good to kind of just do these big sound design sessions. You never know what you're going to get out of them. You just like you know, set up your MIDI, you just mess around with this thing for like as long as you want, like 10 minutes or whatever. And then you have to like go back through it and kind of just like pick out like parts of it that you like. You get some really interesting stuff when you do it that way. I brought this in from an old project just to show you the post-processing I had on it. Just a whole lot of distortion, EQing, more distortion, more EQing. Again, layers. Got some kind of guitar-y layer. I don't even know what that is. And then for the response, I think this was an Excellent Sound preset. Their Red Lips one. Let's see, just so I can show you guys. Bite. Oops. Yeah, so something like that, and then I obviously just messed with it. Yeah, just messing with it, getting different tones, effects, got some screens we layered with it. This is honestly probably from that same sound design session I did, just like random little blips you never know might sound good. And then sometimes, not all the time, you might want to have a separate sub if you're like the sound you made, like the sub is all flubby and all over the place. It's nice just to do a separate sub just to get like a nice clean tone. Yeah, and then we just got some kind of sirens and chants just to kind of help fill it out a little bit more. I think that's pretty much it for that. And then we got a B drop here. And I think the main sound, again, is just from that sound design session that I did. Yeah, more layers. This was actually an interesting sound. I think in the final mix, we actually brought this up a little bit more so you could hear it. I think that sound is actually from my Barricade remix. I reuse a lot of sounds I make in presets, because why not? Got a sub. Yeah, kind of just a lot of the same sounds going on. Then we go into a breakdown. It's just a lot of the same elements from the intro and the verse. Go into a break, and then we go into this part here that has a couple big epic hits. I wanted it to feel like real big and massive and epic. Yeah, that's cool. And then I think I just layered them with some like Hans Zimmer inspired brass hits. Some guitar layers. And then for this last part here, I like this part. It has a good groove to it. I think that sound might be from my collab with Nicodemus, Syzygy. The ending, the last drop. I think it's the same screechy, plucky sound. And then just have that layered. This is actually a kick, I think. yeah, it's just a kick with like distortion, effects, reverb and whatnot. First hit from the same sound design sesh, and then this last part here, it wasn't quite feeling like enough for me. It was basically the B drop repeating, but I wanted it to just feel even bigger and crazier. So I wanted to add this layer, this kind of like fast whipping layer that was actually inspired by Reaper and Sin's song Levitate. Definitely not quite the same, but I think it adds a cool layer that just like makes the outro feel like you're losing it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I hope some of that made sense, at least. Sorry, I'm not the greatest at explaining things. It's just a whole lot of messing around, twisting knobs, till something sounds good, and then a whole lot of freezing and flattening. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned at least something. I think we're going to be linking a preset from the project down below, so be sure to check that out. And of course, go stream my debut EP, Powerless, out now on Sounds of Mayhem. Bye!